Very good evening to everybody and welcome to this next in our live stream series. This is Christopher Daigan coming to you from our home in KwaZulu-Natal, the next in our Music Revival online live stream program. This is Wednesday and it's our piano hour. I see the title for some reason has come up on the stream title as Play Piano Play, which is the subtitle, but it's definitely Piano Hour, which is varied selection of music. In this evening's program, on the 11th of August, this is our stream number 144. I am going to be playing, as I say, Play Piano Play, which is always a program of music that explores the piano and the possibilities of it. And this evening I'm going to play a program of quite gentle and particularly quite delicate music. I'm in the feeling like I need some delicate music for various reasons, and something a little bit with the fragrance, you might say, of nostalgia or romance or even melancholy maybe at times. And so there's actually quite a number of French composers in this evening's program, so I hope that you can join me for the next hour or so in this selection of music. Now, first of all, thank you to everyone who's responded to our questionnaire, our survey, which went out last week. I've had numerous responses and it's been really wonderful and incredibly encouraging to read all the positive remarks. Thank you to Terry Lynn in Pretoria for an email, a wonderful email that I received today. Many messages as well from Dorian and Peter Maritzburg, who along with many people have asked or suggested that it would be very nice to see the occasional guest artists in the program. That is something I'm working on. It is a bit tricky with the COVID predicament and rehearsals with musicians and performances in confined spaces. Every time I'm about to launch into work with a new musician, another wave hits, and it seems we narrowly missed one quite recently in the end of May. So it will be coming. Dorian very generously thought, or he said it's a pity in fact that we can't fit the whole orchestra into my room, which is a shame. It would be quite nice to have a full symphony orchestra here, but we'll certainly be working on bringing more musicians in. So one of the reasons that I'm playing this more gentle and quite delicate program tonight is subsequent to Saturday's program where I played the Beethoven Appassionata. I've had a number of responses from people who really enjoyed the music and found it very challenging but very rewarding. And I was quite cautious about playing such a dramatic sonata. If you haven't seen this, this was last Saturday's program. The Beethoven Appassionata is one of Beethoven's darkest, stormiest, one of the most dramatic of all piano works. And I was cautious about it, but the responses have been very positive. And I realized that, in fact, as we sit in a situation, and we live in a situation which is filled with drama, sometimes darkness and despair, that the music itself actually reflects something of that and helps us maybe be led. Beethoven leads us through a process or through a path of processing or of journeying through that emotion, to actually sit with it for a while and then also find a moment of calm in it, a moment of change, a moment of beauty in the middle of it, and then also some sort of closure, maybe even final what's the word I'm looking for? Final resolution, I think. So it's a very challenging, was a very difficult program for me to play, not only technically, physically, emotionally. So I thought, well, this evening's program, I needed to approach things with a little bit more delicacy and a little bit of nuance. And I really hope that you are going to enjoy this selection of music. Barry's trying to signal something to me.
Tell them about your hands.
Oh, no, I'm not. My hands also need a rest. 144 programs later, I'd need a little, just taking things a little bit carefully here. So I am going to start off with three beautiful nocturnes. First of all, the wonderful nocturne by Chopin, the Opus Posthumous Nocturne. This is a piece of music that he wrote to his family. He sent this to a letter, you might say, to his family, a very nostalgic piece of music, and it was later only published after his death. It's the C-sharp minor Nocturne Opus Posthumous. There's something incredibly unfiltered about it, poignant, very real, very easily recognizable mood that everyone can attach to very quickly. In the middle section, he quotes a melody from one of his own compositions, the second piano concerto, and in a way, writing this as a letter to his family is, I think, acknowledging or sending them some sort of idea of the despair that he was experiencing in Paris at the time, and by quoting the composition of his own, they would have realized that that was a piece of music that he composed when he was with them in Poland years before, a kind of remembrance of a joint memory. Straight after that, I'm going to play a piece of music by Friedrich Kalkbrenner, German pianist and composer who was born in Germany but spent most of his life in Paris, and very famously, rather cheekily, I think actually, when Chopin arrived as a young pianist in Paris, he invited Chopin to enroll in one of his schools, one of his own private piano schools, in order to teach Chopin how to play the piano properly. Gosh. And of course, this was the time when Chopin was himself publishing and writing his etudes, which are the basis of modern piano technique. So there was no need for Chopin to learn, should have perhaps been the other way around. And you will see from this charming piece the size of the Aeolian harp. The Aeolian harp being a small instrument, a sort of gadget, fun novelty gadget that was popular in Paris in the early 19th century, where it was two very small, very fine pieces of wire that were suspended between a frame, and when the wind blew through it, it made its own gentle whistles. So this is the size of the Aeolian harp of Friedrich Kalkbrenner, and you can certainly hear the difference between the comparisons of Chopin's music and Kalkbrenner's music. And the third of three nocturnes, also by French composer Gabriel Fauré, and this is the third of his beautiful nocturnes, full of really rich harmonies, beautiful textures.
The third or fourth in order.
I'm not with you. The third nocturne, the Chopin, the Fauré Nocturne number 3. So here we go. Chopin, Kalkbrenner, and Fauré. I started off this evening's selection of a piano hour, our Wednesday night variety of different piano music and styles of piano music in a selection called Play Piano Play, demonstrating various aspects of the piano and what the piano can do. I think it's always so exciting how varied the repertoire is, and I've played a recent up-tempo program, I think it was last week, so this evening is a little bit more delicate, a little bit more gentle, atmospheric, some beautiful chords and French flavor there in that Fauré Nocturne. But first of all, I started off with the Nocturne in C-sharp minor, opus posthumous by Frédéric Chopin, just to point out that melody I keep quoting from the is the opening of the third movement for Chopin's second piano concerto in F minor. And you hear it. Very different guys, slow down, but certainly a recognizable melody that his family would have acknowledged and realized the importance of that memory together. After that, I played a composition, I can't speak this evening, Friedrich Kalkbrenner, The Size of the Aeolian Harp. Very atmospheric, beautiful melody, but you'll see if you compare those two compositions in a nocturne by Chopin and a nocturne by Kalkbrenner, you realize the immense sophistication and genius of Chopin, that nothing is expected, nothing is excessive, nothing is banal, everything is quite unique, whereas somehow Kalkbrenner's music is just not quite seem to be sitting in the right place for me, at least. And then the Fauré Nocturne, the third of Fauré's nocturnes in A flat. Now I'm going to move on to something completely different, very different style, into a more contemporary atmosphere. First of all, with a piece of music by a contemporary pianist called Joop Beuving, whose album Solipsism, I think it's correct in pronunciation, has really become a modern classic even in recent years, recorded in his home on a very simple little upright piano where you can hear the keys creaking and it's worn out, and you can really experience the middle of the night. You even hear some traffic going by and maybe even someone walking down the stairs outside in his apartment, but really a unique sound and a very unique atmosphere. And this is one of the tracks which is particularly interesting, an etude, normally an etude in brilliance, but this is just a study in itself, an etude, I think, in sound, just very repetitive, beautiful, very delicate atmospheres from Joop Beuving. Straight after that, I'm going to play a piece of music by Jan Tiersen again from Usher, the series of pieces inspired by his homeland Ireland off the coast of France. And this time a very atmospheric piece called Pause Correct. And then just to mix things up a little bit and just to bring a different atmosphere, but within the same line, you might say, or the same department, I'm going to end off with J.S. Bach's aria from the Goldberg Variations. Continuing there, our selection of music with a gentle and delicate atmosphere of fragrant and exotic sounds. That was starting off with Joop Beerving and his Etude from Solipsism, Posgoret from Jan Tiersen, another contemporary pianist composer, Jan Tiersen from his selection of music called Usha, and not so contemporary composer, but really fresh sound, such a beguiling piece of music from the Goldberg Variations, the aria by J.S. Bach. Now, talking of exotic and interesting sounds, someone is, oh yes, look who's here. It's little Lucy. It's little Lucy on Wednesday piano hour. So piano hour is a little bit more informal. It's a family gathering, so the whole family is welcome, including little Lucy. Hello, little Lucy. How are you doing today? And how is everything? Yes, it's been a beautiful day. It's been a lovely, another August day. It's no rain. It's warm. It's sunny. It's not even cold at night. I don't even have to sleep under the duvet. Yeah, you like to sleep on top. And everything is just perfect. Here's everyone's little favorite dachshund, little Lucy, the long-haired dachshund. Where's your tomato? Lucy's got a toy, stuffed toy, a big tomato that she likes to play with. Playing with a lot? You're playing with your tomato a lot this week, yeah? There we go, little Lucy. And who else? Oh, we've got someone else here with a big waggy tail. Yeps. Here comes little Wendy Pop. Hello, Wendy Pop. Hello, Wendy Pop, Wendy Pop, Wendy Pop. I'm holding you so that everyone can't see your waggy tail, but I'm sure, yes, it's wanting to wag underneath you. Let's see if we can escape. Look, look. Everyone's going to see your big waggy tail. Look, I'm showing them your waggy tail. There we go. Hello, Wendy Pop. How's everything today? No, Luce, this is not your time to bark. Yes, everything's just perfect. Oh, you're giving me licks. Oh, no, the licks. Okay, off you go. We're going to carry on with some music. We've got more very nice music. In your basket. Here you go. In your basket. Good girls. Good girls. Right. Who knows? Frida might make an appearance later on. So I'm going to carry on with another three rather exotic and what might seem like uncomplimentary or sort of strange desk partners, you might say. Two pieces by 17th century French composers and then straight into a composition by late 19th century Spanish or Catalan composer. So I'm going to start off with a wonderful piece of music called repertoire by Jacques Dufly. Now, Jacques Dufly is a very obscure composer. I happened to hear this piece on a recording, on an album that I just happened to be listening to while I was walking around the house. I listened to it several times, and this very plaintive refrain really caught my ear. I had to go and check out to see exactly what this was, and researched it and found this piece of music on the internet. Composer I'd never heard of, Jacques Dufly, who was late 18th century, and composed this repertoire referring to thought to be referring to a figure, one of the people who weren't so keen for the changes around the French Revolution, a nobleman, a statesman, and someone who actually didn't want the revolution, didn't want things to change, actually quite liked the way that things were. A sort of probably quite affluent and quite wealthy man. And this is obviously a piece of music written to him, or perhaps in his memory. Jacques Dufly I don't think wrote very much music, but there are certainly other pieces in this collection which I will look at. Straight after that, by Jean-Philippe Rameau, from his many, many collections of music that he wrote, The Tender Sighs, very poignant little piece of music, very charming, very unique atmospheres again in both of these pieces. And then something of a little bit more sunny atmosphere, a little bit more open-hearted, by the Catalan Spanish composer Isaac Albéniz and his very beautiful Granada from the Suite Española. Albéniz wrote in each of these suites a number of pieces inspired by the various regions, Seville, etc. And this is Granada, a very well-known serenade, which many of you will know in its guitar version, although Albéniz, of course, did write it for piano first. In that last section of 3 pieces, I've started off with Repertoire, a very fanciful title referring to a real person by Jacques Dufly, a very poignant refrain, I think a very captivating piece that, and I love the way at the end, the third turn of the rondo, it sort of descends into this watery texture. It really is a wonderful, it's a lovely piece of music. Every time I play that, I think it's such a great piece. I then played Jean-Philippe Rameau's The Tender Sighs, and then ended off that 3 pieces with Isaac Albéniz and his Granada from the Suite Española, Spanish scene with a serenade there. I'm going to end off this evening's program with 2 pieces of music. Very delicate Debussy, The Girl with the Flaxen Hair, La Fille à Cheveux de Lin. And then a very unique transcription of a popular song. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but the title will come up, I'm sure, during the piece of music itself. This is an arrangement, very beautiful arrangement, which I found, which I think always works pretty well. That brings us to an end of this evening's piano hour session. I started off there with The Girl with the Flaxen Hair by the French composer Claude Debussy, and then ended off with the very famous favorite of many, a very beautiful piece, Over the Rainbow from the Wizard of Oz, Harold Arlen, the composer of music, and that arrangement by the incredibly brilliant pianist Keith Jarrett. Transcription there of his version, a live improvised version from I think it's a La Scala concert. I've grown up with Keith, well, I've been listening, I wouldn't say I've grown up, but I listened to many of Keith Jarrett's albums, but the Cologne concert is certainly a piece of music that has a very, very special place in my heart. I know for many as well. I've even tried to play it once. Amazingly, someone wrote, for those of you who know the Cologne concert, Jarrett improvised these performances, sat down at the piano and played. And many years later, people have actually written these down. And of course, it doesn't quite sound the same when you play it, because he has just his unique and incredible style. So that was Keith Jarrett's arrangement of Over the Rainbow. It does bring us to an end in this evening's session. Thank you for joining us. If you are able to support me in these endeavors of producing, presenting these live streams and offering these sessions of music and images and flowers and lovely bits and pieces we try to bring to you through this live stream medium, please do support me. You'll find all links at my donate page at my website at musicrevival.co.za. Thank you, Barry, once again for the technical support of the cameras and also providing some new beautiful orchids. There's a whole new range of orchids coming through as well. And on Saturday, I will be playing a program of music by Franz Schubert. I'm hoping to include the part of two movements of the sonata in G major, a very tranquil, very really unbelievably beautifully serene piece of music, as well as a selection of impromptus and other compositions by Schubert. The whole program will be Schubert in a selection of music called Why Schubert, and I hope to detail just a little bit about why I think Schubert is such an important composer and why he's contributed, what his contribution to the repertoire is. So thank you for joining me. Enjoy your evening. Look after yourselves. Stay well. Keep well in this very, very tricky times. Keep listening to the music, and we look forward to seeing you on Saturday.